Like, could this potentially be like the next like lion's mane or like chaga, like have, you know, be like something that we're gonna see in the next few years?
Totally.
How can it be that we live in a world in which most people can name all of the Kardashians, and yet we only know about 7% of the entire planet's fungi kingdom? Yes, we have seen somewhat of a mushroom renaissance in the past few years, with a couple of big players making their way into the mainstream. But if you think that lion's mane chaga and reishi are the only breadwinners here, think again. We have pretty much only skimmed the surface of what is actually out there. I mean, there's another 93% of undiscovered fungi that could have potential health benefits. So what else could be out there? Well, Malama Mushrooms is trying to answer that question. And to find out, I teamed up with their CEO and founder, Benjamin Lillybridge, to go off the beaten trail and hunt for never-before-seen mushrooms in the most remote parts of this Hawaiian island, with the hope that one day a company like Malama Mushrooms might discover the next lion's mane or turkey tail and bring that mushroom to the masses. But before I get ahead of myself, what does it even look like to find, discover, and bring a mushroom to market? Well, stick around as I walk you through that entire life cycle and take you behind the scenes to show you what Malama is doing to pave the way for major change in a very untapped mushroom market. And you'll want to stay to the very end for a special giveaway courtesy of our friends at Malama Mushrooms. So before we venture into the depths of a volcano in search of mushrooms, let me first introduce you to my friend Ben and his company, Malama Mushrooms. Yes, they're a Hawaiian-based company and a brother-sister duo, which is absolutely adorable. But they've also got a robust line of different medicinal mushroom powders and extracts. And even though the company is only like 3 years old, they have already established a pretty strong foothold in the industry, making their way into nearly 200 stores across the country. In fact, I was a pretty big fan of their lion's mane cacao mix long before I moved to the Big Island. And the reason that I love Malama so much is, well, a couple of different reasons. For one, their products are friggin' delicious. I mean, their powdered mushroom blends are insane on their own, but it's their lion's mane honey tincture that is probably the most palatable extract I have ever tried. And I've experimented with a handful of different lion's mane's extracts in the past, including Wild Kingdom and Life Cycle. And while I think those extracts are great, I gotta say, Malama Mushrooms is kind of in a league of their own. As you'll see, it comes out as a much darker liquid than most, which really has a lot to do with their very unique and long extraction process. Plus, it's got this very mellow, earthy flavor and tastes like honey, not alcohol, which makes it much smoother going down. Another thing that really separates them from the countless number of mushroom brands on Amazon really comes down to efficacy.
There's like raw mushroom powders on the market, and then there's also myceliated grain powders on the market, which is another topic to get into. But ultimately, like having something that's just like ready to go and easy to use is a priority for us. Even our powder line, it's not raw mushroom powder. It's been steamed for 3 hours and like extracted to break down that cell wall and make it bioavailable.
Now, I will say that there is quite some debate in the space right now regarding companies that use fruiting bodies versus mycelial grains in their mushroom blends. So we're gonna table this for now, and then in part 2, I'm gonna follow up with a video on the efficacy of some of these mushroom brands and what to really look for on the back of the label. So stay tuned for that. But in the short term, I can tell you Malama Mushrooms is a really good brand to trust because they're rooted in science, do a lot of third-party lab testing, and they're very transparent about the ingredients they use in their mushroom blends. And finally, let's talk about sustainability. So there are actually a lot of big mushroom companies making huge strides on this front, including Sigmatic, whose mission is to become Climate Plus by planting 40,000 trees. Then there's Wild Kingdom, who donates a portion of every sale to plant trees worldwide. And then there's Paul Stamets' company, Host Defense, which really prides itself on being climate positive and has contributed thousands to multiple carbon offset projects across the globe. Now, these are all tremendous initiatives, and I can't overstress the importance of what they're doing for the environment here. But Malama is approaching sustainability in a different way. A portion of all their sales help support the Hawaii Fungi Project, which is a nonprofit that Ben runs to help identify, sequence, map, and monitor all the new mushrooms that are growing right here in Hawaii. And I got a chance to experience all of this behind the scenes action as Ben took me on a number of different expeditions across the Big Island in search of this new species that they're dubbing now the new chicken of the woods. And for anyone who is thinking about foraging, even if it's just for fun, there are definitely a couple of things you need to know before you take the plunge.
If you're gonna be a mushroom nerd, you gotta carry your tackle box.
Ooh, fancy.
That's where we put that.
Bye, mushroom.
Yep.
That's so exciting. Look at this. He's got, what is he? I'm sorry, I'm just going through. Look at this, guys. This is a real forager right here.
Just in case, I got most of that up here.
Ben also explained that what you're looking at is just as important as what you're looking for.
Pro tip, like things to be looking for when you find a mushroom that are like necessary to identify it. First, obviously the cap. Like they can have many different cap shapes. Like this one, you'll notice there's almost like this little like bump.
Yeah.
It's almost like an umbrella in a way, right? So sometimes it'll be like more dome, sometimes it'll be a shelf, and this one, that's something to note. Second, you always need to look at the underside because the gills and the stipe or stem will tell you a lot too.
And finally, foraging definitely has a lot to do with knowing your lay of the land, but it's also a lot about timing.
During the summer is when a lot of the native mushrooms start to pop up in Hawaii, and those are my like bigger interest because of their rarity. So during the summer, I'm trying to get out at least once a week to a forest.
Also a recent invasive. It only just started popping up on the islands. I think the first reports were like 10 years ago.
Now, not all missions are successful, and Ben has certainly come up empty-handed on some of his foraging attempts over the years, but it's his combination of persistence, knowledge, and probably a little bit of luck that has led him to some pretty big discoveries, including this new mushroom species that we were all day on the hunt for, the new chicken of the woods.
Actually tastes pretty good. It's like just like chicken. What the fuck? We'll probably have to bleep out that fuck.
And as a quick disclaimer, guys, eating raw mushrooms in the wild, probably not the best idea, even if they are considered edible. Now that being said, we actually did manage to score some extra new chicken of the woods to bring home for dinner and cook it. And I have to say, probably one of the best mushroom dishes I've ever had in my entire life. It did taste like chicken. But all kidding aside, let's get back to the foraging and the real reason Ben is called to do this work.
This is all towards taxonomy, right? Taxonomy is like the characterization, like, you know, the naming of species. And without good taxonomy, it doesn't provide the foundation for biochemistry, which would be the next step of looking at these novel mushrooms for novel chemical compounds. And that's ultimately what I am interested in, is like pharmacological sciences, is like what kind of biochemistry do these mushrooms have? How do they affect humans? How can they benefit humans?
Which brings us to the last leg in this whole process, and that is lab testing. So after foraging and collecting these new mushroom species, Ben then works with a team of scientists to catalog and analyze the samples, which really opens the door to further research and development in the entire mushroom space.
There are a lot of unknown mushrooms everywhere. Mushrooms were thought to be plants until the 1970s, so we're doing a lot of catch up right now. And as I said before, only 7% of the world's fungi have been discovered, so there's obviously a huge lacking.
And so I think it's really only a matter of time before we see the next faction of fungi take the world by storm. And who knows, maybe the next lion's mane mushroom exists right here on the Big Island, and we just haven't found it yet. There is one thing I know for sure, and it's the help of nonprofits like the Hawaii Fungi Project that are helping bring us closer to that reality every single day. And so if you're at home thinking to yourself, I love mushrooms, and hey, I want to be part of helping discover the next new mushroom? Well, all you have to do is buy a bag of Malama mushrooms, because 5% of all their proceeds go straight towards helping fund and grow the Hawaii Fungi Project. And if I couldn't love this company anymore, they're actually doing a special giveaway for this audience. They're going to be giving a sampler pack of some of their lion's mane powders and tinctures, and this stuff is in a league of its own. So if you guys want to be part of the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment below, and I will be picking a winner at random in the next week. And yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to try them if you haven't already. Their products are super efficacious, they're amazing people, and obviously what they're doing for the mushroom space is tremendous. So give them some love, leave a comment, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you learned something, if you like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, you guys know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, click that bell, all the things. And until then, I cannot wait to catch you on the next one.
What does it taste like? Can you speak?
Microphone check. 1, 2. What is this? The 5-foot assassin with the roughneck business.